Back. The Wages Commission, which was appointed to investigate the introduction of a national minimum wage, has started its work. It will commence with regional public hearings, starting with the Khomas region on the 23rd of March 2021. With more details on this, I'm now joined by the Chairperson of the Commission, Dr. Marius Kudumo. Good morning, Doctor, and welcome to Good Morning Namibia.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
Doctor, what we do know is that a minimum wage is regulated under existing labor law legislation in the country. In fact, the Minister of Labour has the power to issue wage orders to decide the remuneration and working conditions for employees in a particular industry or area after considering the recommendations of the Wage Commission. Talk to us about this, please.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Yes, as you have stated, the minister responsible for labor in terms of our Labor Act is empowered to convene a wages commission. When a wages commission is convened, the minister, through a government gazette, defines the term of reference of that commission, as well as the time frame in which it has to complete its work. But it's important when we talk about a minimum wage that we put it in context. What is it that it wants to achieve?
As far as that's concerned, Doctor, that concept is clearly defined in the existing legislation.
Yes, it is, but sometimes people don't understand how it relates to other developmental goals. For example, this country have a high level of income inequality. Secondly, we have high levels of poverty in this country. And our constitution have promised a decent standard of living for all. Actually, as part of state policy, in Article 95 of our constitution, a minimum wage is foreseen as part of state policy. In other words, in general terms, a minimum wage wants to contribute to poverty alleviation, reducing income inequality, as well as for households and individuals to improve their incomes and to improve their standard of living. Sometimes we think it's just something that comes up, but it's part of a broader objective.
Apart from what the Supreme Law envisages for this to mean, what does the Labour Act say specifically about a minimum wage?
So a minimum wage is the amount that you pay to employees, whether it is on an hourly, whether it is on a daily, whether it's on a weekly, or whether it is on a monthly basis. In terms of the gazette that we are working with, it excludes other allowances like your bonus, your transport, your housing allowance. It is actually the amount, the real amount that employees are supposed to be paid.
Very well. So why then does one need a framework directive on adequate minimum wages?
Yeah, in addition to the goals that I have explained, I think it is important for us as society to be conscious that there are people in society who are not living the decent standard of living that the Constitution has promised. Also, that their human dignity, which is a basic human right in terms of our Constitution, are actually being violated by way of them not living a decent standard of living. So as a caring society, we need to be concerned about especially the poor and the less privileged in society. And that's why you need to have a framework that addresses, that speaks on behalf of people who might not be able to speak on their own behalf.
And in fact, Dr. Kudumo, the Constitution refers to the right to dignity as an inviolable right for all Namibians.
Yes, you are correct. So if some people are not living that standard that we have promised them, then obviously someone can conclude that somehow we are violating their human dignity and their rights.
In terms of the Labour Act of 2017, as amended, the Wage Commission can be formed either by the Minister or upon the request of a trade union and or registered employers organization. Let's talk about the functions of the Commission, please.
Yes, I will actually relate to the current Wages Commission. The mandate of this commission is to investigate all industries in terms of a minimum wage, and then report and make recommendations to the minister in terms of a proposed minimum wage for Namibia. When the minister considers this report, he might exclude certain industries from the application of a minimum wage, for
Which
example.
are those likely to be, Doctor?
No, I can't speculate now because I want us to go open-minded into the inquiry. We are also looking at the implementation of a minimum wage. If we are proposing a national minimum wage, how will it be implemented? In other words, what is the notice that will be required for us to implement it? We are also looking at intervals of review. What is the time frame that we will look at in terms of reviewing this minimum wage? You know that the cost of living is not static. It changes. Inflation and other factors changes. So we have to make a recommendation. What will be the intervals for review? We are also looking at enforcement. If we are proposing a national minimum wage, how will we ensure adherence? How will we enforce it? So these are the issues that the Commission is investigating, including how do you calculate it? Is it an hourly? Is it a daily? Is it a month? How do you calculate it? So these are the technical issues that the Commission will be going into and listening to whoever is appearing before it. And then at the end of the day, after the investigations, we report and make recommendation to the minister.
Speaking about that proposed computation of such a national minimum wage, are we looking at one potential amount across the board, across all industries?
Yeah, we are calling it a national minimum wage. We must understand that you are having some minimum wages in some of the industry. For example, the agricultural industry, the domestic workers. There are wages that have been determined in those sectors. When you are talking about a national minimum wage, you are looking at a minimum wage for all industries. But of course, as I have said, in the terms of reference, in your recommendations, you are looking at, are there certain industry that must be exempted? Are there certain industry that in terms of the phase-in methods, it will take some time? So all those are technical issues, but we are looking at a national minimum wage, meaning it applies to everyone.
Starting on Tuesday, 23 March 2021, the Commission is expected to embark on public hearings kicking off in the Khomas region. What exactly is the purpose of these engagements?
Look, in terms of the Gazette, people are invited to make written representations to the Commission, not later than 30 June. In other words, people can write to the Commission and propose a national minimum wage or deal with all the specific issues that are in the Gazette. But we are conscious that not everyone is maybe in a position to make written submissions. That's why the Commission have decided to have also public hearings in addition to written representations. So the purpose of the public hearings is to afford everyone, especially those that are in a position to submit written representation, to appear before the Commission and state their case in terms of what the Commission is investigating in terms of its term of reference. In other words, the Commission is looking at almost three methods of obtaining information. Firstly, is through written representations. Secondly, the information that we'll obtain from the public hearing. And there's also a lot of literature from international and national experiences that we have to read. So we are looking at different methods of obtaining the information. Hence, the public hearing is one of the critical aspects.
Very well, Doctor. Being mindful that you would not want to preempt even these public hearings, what form and shape are they expected to adopt?
Yeah, look, anyone who wants to make representation will appear before the commission and will explain the terms of reference of that commission, and will allow the person to make his or her representation in terms of what should be the proposed national minimum wage for Namibia, what are the factors that we should consider when setting up or proposing a national minimum wage. Normally, sometimes you have unintended consequences. What are the possible unintended consequences that we need to be aware of? So it's just a format of you appear before the commission, you state your case, we listen, we ask you some questions for clarity, and then we take what you have presented to us in the final analysis of presenting our report.
Thank you, Doctor. In conclusion, ultimately the aim is, of course, to ensure better wage and working conditions in Namibia. How do you foresee that these platforms will accomplish exactly that goal?
Yes, as I said, the quality of the outcome of any commission is dependent on the quality of input that it receives. So a commission does not imagine and come up with issues. In addition to their own views, they are informed by what people are presenting to it. I'm just calling upon everyone who are concerned about these issues, especially your registered and non-registered trade unions, individuals, employers' federation, to appear before the commission and to state their case. We have created different avenues, as I have said. They can make written submission. They can appear before the commission. So especially Tuesday, the 23rd of March, we are starting with the Commerce region. It will be at the Ministry of Labor, Industrial Relations, and Employment Creation Conference Hall. We will be starting at 9. So this ministry is in Commercedal, Mercedes Street. We are inviting everyone to appear before the commission. Not only those that are lowly paid that are affected, also those that can speak on behalf of these people, whether they are organizations, employers, federations, and so on and so on. Because I always emphasize that employment relationship is a mutual beneficial relationship. Therefore, we need to take care of those that work for us, and those that work for us must also know that there are expectations from the employers.
Doctor, thank you very much for your time. Best of luck with these public hearings, and we look forward to feedback from these sessions.